7 o'clock. Can we call it to order? Calling Inland Wetlands Conservation Commission to order, October 2nd. Can I have a motion from someone to approve the minutes for the June 5th meeting?
So moved.
And a second?
Yes, yes, second or whatever.
So, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
I don't know who has to recuse themselves.
I would abstain because I was
Yes,
there.
you weren't there. Okay. So you good with that?
Yep.
Okay. And then can I have a motion, can I make motions to approve the special meeting? This was regarding the pickleball changes to the plans up there at East Granby Farms. They want to put in a basketball court and 4 pickleball courts instead of, I think it was soccer fields before. So something, I think they think will get more town use. So we had a special meeting for them, June 20th. So I would make a motion to approve these minutes. Can I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor who were there? Which were Ron and Jim
Yep.
and myself. And Tricia's in here.
Okay, so Lisa and Dan have to abstain.
Okay. Communications. I've been getting these letters about a battery storage plant, 4.99 megawatt. That's pretty big battery energy. I think it's, I'm not sure the size, but it's kind of like 100 foot by 100 or 200 feet. It's a good sized building on a 5-acre parcel of land at 100 Salmon Brook Street in Granby, but it's just across the line. And this is, so they're going to have solar panels all around there where the nursery used to be. A lot of that,
Okay.
all that
Down
land.
by Floydville?
Yeah, by
Yeah,
Floydville
okay.
Road. Yeah, so that's, and the Connecticut Siting Council is kind of handling all this, and then all the commissioners in town are being given notice. So so first they're saying, we intend to develop this 4.99 megawatt battery energy storage system to be to store the energy from the solar panels. They're saying the projects are unrelated, but,
You think, John?
Unrelated.
sorry, you didn't miss too much.
No, these last minute phone calls absolutely killed me.
But anyway, they are going to have an online hearing, and the public will speak. I assume Granby's going to be pretty organized with lawyers and protesters. And I mean, what I was told, like if the East Granby the Trap Rock Ridge Land Conservancy wanted to be an intervener, you have to commit and then attend all the meetings. So would anyone like to be emailed a copy of this? Anyone feel strongly you want to get involved? We're not stopping it. I mean, we might make small modifications, but this is a deal that's cooked, I would say. I just wanted you guys to know about it, because they're sending letters to me, Inland Wetlands, so. At some point, I believe they will come and do a presentation for East Granby, but it'll be for the town. It wouldn't be just for us. But just to let you know what's coming in your neighborhood. Okay, the next communications, Todd Zestin is the Republican Town Committee Vacancy Committee, and they have selected a Colby Laviana to replace, who was the person who withdrew? Oh, that's what I should have mentioned.
Brian Cuff.
Brian Kosker, I guess, resigned in August. So the Republican are proposing to replace him with Colby Laviana. And I had a nice conversation with him today. He's an electrical contractor. I brought a package of stuff for him, and he was invited to the meeting, but I'm guessing he's working. He sounded like he works a lot. So that's a new piece of commit. So this will get approved at the October 9th Board of Supervisor meeting, and then he'll be joining us. Okay, and the piece of communication I just got tonight was from Dan is resigning effective the end of this year. So he's a short timer. And we appreciate all the time you've spent. And I know you were the vice chair for many years before I got it, so.
The easiest job in the world.
yeah.
Looks good on your resume and you don't do anything.
So thank, we'll be sorry to lose you, but, you know, thank you for all your help.
You're serious.
Is that Mr. Laviana?
This is me.
Hi, I'm Jennifer.
I thought we were going to the other place.
Oh, sorry, I got a package for you too. I mean, just for background, if you.
No worries.
And I just read off your letter, and we expect that you'll get appointed at their next meeting is October 9th.
Okay.
So probably it'll get handled then.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Thank you.
And can we take a minute to go around the room? Do you guys want to each introduce yourself to?
Hey, I'm John Westnock.
Nice to meet you. It's my wife, Sarah.
Very nice to meet you.
So you're the East Granby person, right?
Well, her parents, Sarah.
Oh, your parent, okay.
My mother, yeah, my grandparents
Okay.
live in town, and
Okay. I'm just wondering how he got dragged into this, so that's.
Get dragged into it.
Tim, it was a customer of mine.
Tim Brignall?
Yes.
Ah, okay.
So, through a couple conversations,
Yeah.
figured it would be something that might interest me, I guess. Sounds like me. No.
Dan?
Dan Muffet?
Yeah.
I'm Ron. Yep.
Jennifer Frank?
Dave Tobin.
Nice to meet you.
Jim Markey.
Nice to meet you.
Lisa Berman.
Nice to meet you.
And Michelle Ledbeater. I'm the administrative assistant for the Building and Land Use Department as well as the commissions.
Couple hats.
She sends out all the information.
Yes, I
If you
will.
have any questions, they go through her.
Okay.
So the next piece of, and I'm about 3 items down on the agenda, I'm on communications. And the last thing, oh no, that's a report, okay. So I think I covered communications, old business, nothing. Item 5, reports and other business. Robin had a Hatchet Hill violation update. And these are those people who have a piece of, I guess, rural property and they built a road and they kind of filled in across the wetland. And Robin's trying, and possibly with some contaminated soil. And Robin's been trying to get them to correct it. But part of what's been hampering them is the ability to get a surveyor to delineate where everything is on the property and where the wetlands are. And after that, they'll begin to do the corrective work. I guess they're trying to establish this property for agricultural use. Therefore, you'd have a little less rules applying to you as far as the wetlands. And you'll see on the second page, there's some sort of back and forth with Robin about that. Like, first you have to tell us what you're doing. And then we'll let you know if, you know, we think that qualifies. And then also tell us whatever it is, however, I don't want to say how you're going to damage the wetlands, but how you might possibly interfere with the wetlands. So I think eyes are on them and they're not continuing to do anything that's wrong at this time. But I don't think the corrective work has started. And it sounds like the contaminated fill, they're going to get paperwork that confirms it was clean fill. So that's ongoing. The other report was Peterson Road. I'm gonna find that. It was a nice picture. It's a farm pond. And apparently they got approval to build it in January of 2021, and I'm not sure why, but it was just recently inspected September 30th, 2024. And the pond and surrounding area have grown in. So there's no, if you look at the next page, it still looks like it's full of silt to me, but it does look like there's good vegetation all around the edges. So they're just letting us know that there are no new violations at this time. So new business is the idea, I don't know if everybody was here, that when someone does a violation, other than just cite them, if someone was doing something really egregious, might we want something with more teeth, like a fine? And it's kind of, there's a graduated way to do it. That's in the, this town of East Windsor thing. But the basic citation procedure, where it says draft, this comes from the state. And I think it's very confusing, and I would have wanted to modify a bunch of things in it. But Robin says you have to use this the way it is. So every town that adopts it, you adopt this. You can develop supplementary stuff, which we might want to do. So some of my questions was, so we have to have a violation chart maintained by the Inland Wetland Watercourse Agency, and she has suggested something. Schedule of fines, we'd have to have a schedule of fines. And then I said, who is the hearing officer appointed by the first selectman? And they said likely that would be a lawyer. So it can't be a town employee or, yeah, there are limits on who it
Building
can be.
inspector.
Yeah, so it, normally then they would select 2 or 3 people who could potentially be these sort of impartial hearing officers. And then it cites regulations 52-180. I said, what is that? She goes, it's all in the state statutes. What other questions I had? Neither the wetland agent nor the building inspector nor any other employee of the town may be appointed as a hearing officer. So, yeah, that's where I got that from. And then continuing, did you guys also get the chapter 401? Mm-hmm. Okay. So these fines, look, actually, I met with Robin. The towns can choose to adopt or not adopt. She said it's a good tool to have in your toolbox. It's much stronger than just sending a letter. So that kind of the 2 different things are a notice of violation, which means we think you're, there appears to be something wrong and they have 30 calendar days to correct. Or if they're really doing something bad, like they've dug up a stream bed and it's really harming the environment, they would get a cease and desist or correct, and we would have a hearing within 10 days. But she said, don't worry, it won't be a special meeting. We'd set it to match your monthly meeting. Cease and desist would come for something erosion that affects a water course. And the process would be, if we come together on this and figure out what we want, we would put something together, Robin, and recommend it. The Board of Selectmen would review and agree, and then a town meeting would be required to approve it. These fines look pretty hefty to me. I mean, 500, I thought these were like per month or per incident, but these are per day. And
That's on the East Windsor one?
yes, I'm looking at schedule of fines for wetland violations.
Yep.
And we always have the option to not enforce the fines. You know, if the person, you know, say within 60 days corrects it and maybe didn't understand what they were doing was wrong. And Robin says it's a big function is how responsive they are. You know, do they respond to you? Do they ignore you? Do they make a good faith effort? Because apparently she's had, you know, different kinds of experience. Then the next page is a little flow chart that I thought was pretty nice and clear. And then the last page was some supplementary policy for wetlands violation enforcement and citations. And this is actually a lot more clear than the state statute. Number 5 kind of highlights, these are the types of things that would be a really big issue. So, any discussion?
is this going to be the commission's policy or a town ordinance that is proposed?
I think it'll become a town ordinance. And it's basically a citation process with fines. John, had you had a chance to read it beforehand? Or?
Yeah, I didn't have any comment on it. This is how we have to follow, everything the state wants us to do, we have to do.
Oh, no, this is voluntary. No, the state is not, she's just saying, if we choose to use this citation process with fines, this way it's kind of time-tested. So you have to use what the state publishes, you can't tinker with it. But it's not required by the state.
I got the impression that it was.
No, this is, I think she said one of these towns took 6 or 16 years to adopt the policy. And we could always do a little less. I mean, we could have something and maybe have a simpler schedule. I mean, but this seems to cover everything that, the one that she wasn't recommending was the, this chapter 401, the town of Middlefield, where it's a flat set of fines, like $100, and then the second time we hit you, it's $200. And she said this was better for zoning, but not recommended for wetlands. This town of East Windsor, this nice long memo, I mean, that's very specific, and I think. So if you adopt this and you have grounds to go back, and you can say we have this regulation, you're violating, item 2 or 3, and therefore we're going to. And I feel it would be reasonable if people have 30 days to correct it, and they at least respond. They say, I can't get an excavator back here to fix it. I'm going to stop doing it. I don't think anyone's going to be unduly harmed if,
Right. I agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, it can be hard to get it's very hard to get a surveyor. I'm sure it's pretty hard to get a contractor.
So currently, we have no fines in place?
Correct.
It's
They just get a letter
we
that
said,
says.
stop it.
You
Yep.
just say,
I told you so, like, please.
you better do this. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay.
So before I have Robin kind of put in more time on it, I kind of wanted just to take an unofficial raised hands, like who's in favor, and I'll ask her to kind of put it together permanently for us. And do you guys want another month to kind of like really read it and see if you want to change it, or? Because I'd probably go with this regulation and then the Windsor stuff. And maybe.
Windsor.
I'm sorry. East Windsor, yeah.
Plan.
And maybe lighten some of the fines. I mean, $1,000 a day, conduct without a permit any activity which causes sediment to flow into any wetland or water course or otherwise causes the pollution of a wetland or water course.
Well, it all depends on what how much impact it's going to be.
Right.
So I would leave the $1,000 as it is.
Because you can always choose to apply less.
Yeah, you could apply less, but you have up to $1,000.
Yeah, okay.
For a
But-
serious violation.
I have a question. Are people just blatantly ignoring wetlands regulations, and that's why we want to implement this? Or
few-
are people not responsive to Mark when he issues a violation? What's the reasoning behind
We've
this?
had a couple people kind of be
Okay.
dragged out. Yeah.
Okay.
Like these people that are in these other people, I think that's been going on 6 or 7 months.
Okay, and you think, well, the goal is, or the theory is if they had a violation,
They'd be
they would
speeded
act
up.
sooner.
They might,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I
Okay.
think, Robin, when I say Robin, you guys know who that is. She's like our new Carrie. So she works in 4 or 5 other towns, and she said she's had problems in other towns, where people just don't pay that much attention.
I know Granby has a lot of headaches over there right now.
With what, violators? Or,
Violation,
yeah. Well, they're doing a lot
and
of,
encroachment, well, and especially with the apartment buildings going in.
yeah,
That's where the biggest problem is.
yeah. Yeah, so
There should be some type of fines regardless, I mean, because you do have people, like you say, that aren't responsive. They don't care.
Yeah.
They, hey, whatever, I'll get to it when I get to it. And
yeah,
try to get on,
sue
think
me.
it'll get
Yeah.
forgotten about, and then they're just getting away with it, if they're getting whacked,
Or
$100
potentially
a
getting
day,
whacked.
yeah. They're gonna be more.
And they can
often.
appeal the fines. I mean, there's a process for
Right,
showing
They're
compliance.
hearing that
Um,
stuff. Yeah, if they say, well, we did correct it.
yeah.
No, I mean, to me, Robin felt like she was very reasonable the way she'd work with people. Here, she's explaining things to this person, and, I don't think we're gonna give anyone a really hard time on this.
No. And it seems like that one here that she got the write-up on, seems like they're starting to do what they need to do, so.
Yeah, it just took a while.
Took a while, right.
Yeah.
So talk, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
The process on how this would work, would it solely be put on Mark as our kind of agent issuing citations, and then they would come to us to determine if they're,
So it would be enforced by the town wetland agent, who is Mark.
Yeah.
But he would be guided by Mike and Robin and us.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, he doesn't have to figure out. I mean, if he sees something, he goes, oh, I think something's wrong. He'll bring it back to them, and then she might run it by us. But I mean, Robin knows way more.
Right, just what, the process to determine if it's a valid violation or not.
Right.
We need to have that spelled out in order, which I think is there, so, all right.
Yeah. No, this isn't going to be some kind of where people are chasing to find stuff.
Yeah, I just don't want one sole person to have
All the authority.
all the authority to determine who's going to get cited and not.
Yeah.
Well, what's proposed would have a mini committee of one or two people not associated with the town.
If there's a hearing, yeah, you
hearing
get this
officer.
impartial
Right.
person. Yeah.
Okay.
Can I just have informally who's in
I
favor?
have one more question though. So these fines go to the town of East Granby. Is there any thought that, that money is marked for remediation of some sort? If, like if we're fining somebody that they destroyed something and then, or does it just go into the general fund? Like, where does the money go?
Can find money used, I don't know. That's a good
Probably
question.
goes into the town coffers as a stand.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, I'll read it to you
Oh.
here. But, so I don't know if we can change, can
I
find
don't know how they handle that administratively.
be used for remediation, but that's a good point. I mean, that would be a good use of money. But it
It's
says,
something
Just to
here
give it to
where-
us so we can have it at lunch.
assessment. Hearing officer's assessment whatsoever shall have the effect of civil money judgment. Levi.
I mean, it says something about paying these hearing officers. Maybe that's where the money should go into, if the town has to be hiring hearing officers. And then there's something about, like, if it's, the case is dismissed and the person doesn't have to pay the fine, but if the case is found to be valid, they're
They have
supposed to
to pay
pay $80 for a hearing fee. But if we're hiring an attorney, it's going to cost us a heck of a lot
Way
more
more
than
than that,
$80.
yeah.
But then you have to presume that somebody's actually paid a fine.
Well, our attorney is our town attorney, right? Our attorney is the town attorney.
Right. All fines shall be made payable to the treasurer of the town of East Granby. So I don't know if we can add that language.
I'm just curious how it would,
Yeah, it'd have to go
just goes
somewhere.
in the rest of the pot or what?
Yeah, as it is, it's paid to the treasurer of the town of East
Because
Granby.
ideally, we're trying to make the wetlands better, right? We're trying to fix something that's been damaged, and if the person's not fixing it, then somebody should be fixing it. And so either they're spending their own money to fix what they did,
Or we're
or they're
using
paying
the
a
fine.
fine, and we need to use the money to fix what they did.
Mediation, okay. I will ask and, okay. That's a good question and reasonable. And I don't know if we could cover that as part of the whole package that we recommend to the selectmen, that all fine money received,
Somewhere be,
yeah, to be used for, remedying what was damaged. Any other discussion? Can I just have an unofficial poll of who's in favor, just before I have Robin? If you're not in favor?
I'm in favor,
Okay. Okay.
it makes sense.
So 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah.
in
So-
principle, yeah.
Okay. So for our next meeting, I'll have Robin draft this all up under our name. And do you guys like the flow chart?
I think that's helpful, because I was trying to read through this and
I always
follow
like-
through it. This is
I
very
always like
helpful.
pictures.
Yeah, I thought it was good. And then the
Maybe
policy,
with timelines added to it too,
I think some of them say 15 days, 30 days.
but I mean, within the flow chart, like have like
Okay.
a linear progress of like, if this is what's happening, you have this long to respond, because that's what I was trying to mentally map out on the state thing, and I got,
Add timelines to the flow chart.
Yeah.
Okay. Flow chart. Can everyone just take a look at the last page, the policy, to see if we like this? So they actually tell them what the number 2 says, details how to bring it into compliance.
So there's a little bit of a discrepancy between the flow chart and what's in the list in terms of any person who has received a notice of violation need not receive a second notice of violation. But on the
Before
flow-
a citation is
but-
issued.
Yeah.
But the flow chart has second notice of violation issued.
Right.
But a little unclear if there is a second notice or there isn't a second notice.
Well, it sounds like it could go either way, is how I,
So that's ambiguous.
okay. So would you want to strike that sentence in item 5?
Well, I mean, the policy should be either that they need to get a second notice or they don't need to get a second notice. It shouldn't be ambiguous.
So clarify, second notice before violation.
Well, but the reason that they were saying if it's a very serious, you were saying this when you introduced it, if it's an extremely serious, time-sensitive thing, it could go straight to the citation.
Oh, yeah.
But that's why they said there's a second violation unless it's serious and it's time-sensitive. So I think it's not entirely ambiguous because we're saying you don't have to issue a second notice if it's one of these things
Well, she
where
was
time is
talking-
of the essence.
The way she explained it to me, for the lighter, less serious things, notice of violation. For the immediate things, cease and desist letter.
And it probably should say something about cease and desist in this.
Yeah.
So let's, we want to have something for
Policy here, right?
cease and desist. Add language, okay.
It seems to be implying that a citation is what issued, and that's the first thing that happens. But if we're saying that's when a cease and desist happens, then, like you said, they need to put in language about when a cease and desist would happen.
Diversion, yeah, those things sound like cease and desist. Number 5, those sound like cease and desist issues to me. I would almost break this into 2 paragraphs and have for the stuff where time is not of the essence versus. I don't know what the notice of non-compliance. I don't.
Fine.
Okay. The other thing that Robin said was the schedule of the fines stays in effect for 12 months. So the people could fix it, the fining would pause, but then if in the future there were additional violations within that 12-month period, they could be reinstated.
Cumulatively?
No. But in other words, once you sort of say, okay, you're good, you wouldn't have to go through this process again if they then sort of went back and started to, I mean, that's what she, and I think I did find that language in here. It said something about up to 12 months. Oh, it's on item H on the state policy, the second sentence. Assessment of a first person found liable and shall file not less than 30 days nor more than 12 months after such mailing a certified copy of the notice of assessment. I'm not sure if that's where that.
Doesn't that just have to do with whether or not they paid the fine
Yeah.
in a year, not whether or not the activities?
Yeah. I'm not sure, she said that to me, I'm not sure where that comes from. And it sounds like they make sure the person gets the notice sent by registered mail, they have to sign for it. I mean, if you think of anything afterwards, just shoot an email to Michelle. But then I'm gonna ask Robin to go ahead and draft this up for our next meeting, and if we approve it, then it'll go to the Board of Selectmen. All right, introduce Colby.
Oh,
What?
there's one last thing. It should say somewhere on here, this is per day.
Ah,
Right, it doesn't. If that's what it is, then right. That's a
The bottom line, each day
bottom-
a violation.
the bottom-
each
day?
cell
Oh, yeah,
constitutes a
each day,
violation.
gotcha, thank you. A new violation, thank you. Maybe just make it all more clear.
yes, and you guys see that there are two headings. One is for violations where the people don't have a permit. They just
Right.
sort of start up and do something. And the second is where they have a permit, but, or maybe, not complying with their permit. Yeah, I can picture heavy rains and stuff, that stuff could happen on a construction site. Kind of unexpected, unintended. Or it could overwhelm the sedimentation and erosion control. Okay, anything else? Should we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.